Welcome to the Impact Maker's Journey from Passion to Profits, the podcast showcasing heart-centered coaches, experts, and energy healers who are on a mission to change lives and create meaningful success doing what they love. I'm your host, Wendy Vaughn, business success coach and founder of Impact Maker Coaching. And I've got to be honest, the path from passion to profits is rarely easy, but it's always filled with growth, clarity, and surprising rewards. Now, each week I sit down with inspiring impact makers who have turned their knowledge and wisdom into thriving businesses that are making a meaningful difference for others. I will explore their personal and professional journeys, how they found their calling, and how they continue to stay aligned with their passion along the way. So if you're here to expand your vision about what's possible for yourself, you're in the right place. So join me as we discover the positive ripple effects created by today's guest. Okay, well, I have as my guest today, Dr. Tanya English. Now, Dr. Tanya is known as the Soul Chiropractor. Now, she supports women and some men who have experienced loss in their lives to retrieve the treasure from the tragedy. So welcome, Dr. Tanya. I am so excited to have as my guest today.
Thank you so much, Wendy. It's great to be with you.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to, not only learning more about this great work that you're doing, but also just learn a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey, because every entrepreneur has kind of their own pathway, right? That's led them to this moment. And typically, it's included opportunities, as I call it in air quotes, for personal growth, right? Do you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think of when you have your own business, it's a spiritual walk that you're going
Yes.
on because it's going to push every button you've ever had.
Yep.
And
And
you're going to see where you don't want to look at things, where you avoid, and where you procrastinate. And so
right.
you're learning about you while you're doing this.
Absolutely. And there is that level of trust and faith you have to
That's
follow
right.
that inspiration,
Yeah,
and
you got to have that passion to be able to do what you do, to go
mhm.
through all those roadblocks that come up and pitfalls, all those things that happen when you have your own business. You know, people say, "Oh, you have your own business, you can do whatever you want."
Right.
Yes, you can, but
But
you have to also, it's like I say, you can have everything that you want, but maybe not all at the same time.
yeah, and it is met with, like you
Yeah.
said, those barriers and those opportunities where
Mm.
it's like you have to really have that bigger vision or mission,
Yeah.
because, personal development goes hand in hand with the business development. And so it's this evolution. And the journey from passion, as you said, to profits, it's not always easy. But the thing that's the same for all of us is that deeper passion and vision for the mission or making that difference for others.
Yeah,
So,
and that
but
that can change throughout your life too. I mean, I've been in
true,
practice for 35 years. I'm not the same person that I was when I started. I'm
exactly.
hopefully wiser. Hopefully have you know, polished off some of the rough edges and also, taken in information that has supported me in changing because we are going to change as we grow.
Hmm. And that broadening of your experience
Mhm.
also seems to me to bring out more compassion, right? We've lived through more things and
Yes,
can feel what other people are experiencing
right.
now through a level of wisdom, and not just like, oh, that's too bad, so it's
Yeah,
just that
I'm in my
knowing.
crone age right now. This is the time when all of my wisdom is there for people to use. And in fact, I was just talking about this with a colleague of mine about mentoring people and how that's something that I really look forward to when I'm working with people. And I just automatically do it when there's somebody that I know is starting out in their practice or they're starting out
Mhm.
in learning about things that are physical and spiritual and how those things go together, and also in singing because I have my own band. So
Mm,
I do
mm.
that as well.
That's a beautiful combination. That that
Yeah.
really is, a full expression, right? Your artistic, your wisdom, your knowledge,
Yeah.
bringing that all to the world. So yeah, I love that. And so in terms of your entrepreneurial journey, how long have you been following your own direction and creating your own pathway?
So when I graduated from Boston University School of Theater Arts,
Mm.
I was doing regional theater, and then I decided to check out what massage therapy would be like. And it turned out that there was a, a school right 3 blocks from my apartment.
Oh,
So I took
convenient.
two of the hardest courses, um, anatomy and physiology and nutrition. Those are two different courses. And I really liked it. And I really saw kind of my horizons open up. Whereas in theater, it was going to be, here's my resume, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how you get hired.
Right.
But
Yeah.
with massage therapy, I could do the same thing I was trying to do in theater, which is give people a different point of view, let them see things from a different point of view, which gives them more compassion.
Hmm.
That's what theater is all about. It's like, it's entertainment, yes, but it's also let me suspend my disbelief so that I can take this on and think these people aren't in a play. I'm seeing something really happen.
Hmm.
And in
Oh,
massage therapy, people can't really get away from you without seeing things differently because you're relaxing them. You're
right.
helping them
You're
heal
they're
from the
transforming
deficit.
in that
Yeah.
moment.
We have a
Mm-hmm.
huge deficit of touch in this society. And so when we're doing massage therapy, and I ended up going to school at the Swedish Institute in Manhattan. So there we have a very ripe population for people who need to relax.
Yeah.
And to be able to show them, like, this is what happens when we change what's happening with your body and you can relax. And so after I was doing that for a few years, I thought, I really like working in chiropractic offices. Why don't I just go be a chiropractor? And then I can hire massage therapists for my practice. So
Mm.
that's what I did. And
Interesting.
I ended up moving from South Jersey to Iowa to go to chiropractic college, which was the
That's
first
a
place where
big move.
chiropractic started, was in
Oh,
Davenport,
really?
Iowa. Yes.
Wow.
So
That's
I went to Palmer College of Chiropractic, which was founded by B.J. Palmer. His father, D.D. Palmer, was the first chiropractor. He's the one that developed chiropractic, and then B.J. said, we need a school for this.
huh,
So they created Palmer. So every other chiropractic college,
this
those founders have pretty much gone to Palmer.
come from there. Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I had no idea of
People in
that
Iowa don't know
lineage.
that either. So,
I bet.
I thought, oh,
Who would have
surely you
thought?
know why I'm here. People say, well, why'd you move to Iowa? I'm like, well, I'm a chiropractor. Yeah, but why'd you move here? I'm like, well, the first chiropractic adjustment took place on Brady Street in Davenport, Iowa. So it's not common knowledge. They don't teach it in school, just like, the history of the state. They just leave that out because there was all kinds of
Yeah,
turmoil with the medical profession not wanting chiropractors
sure.
to take
I'm
over their
sure.
part of patients. And so that became some propaganda that MDs put out at the time. They got sued,
Mm,
and the chiropractor who sued them won. So they could not do that anymore. But this is still part of the knowledge that people have. They say, I don't believe in
right.
chiropractic. And I'm like, well, I'm not a fairy. I'm not an elf. You don't have to believe in me. If you
Right.
use a light switch and you don't know how it works, but you expect the light to turn on when you flip the
Right.
switch, do
And
you
you
have to
pay your
believe in
electric
it for it
bill
to
and
work?
order electric, and it's like if you don't have electricity, you're really upset. So it
Well, I
is.
tell people if you had to explain how a television works in order to own one, you probably wouldn't know that many people who could own one.
A good point. I love those paradigm shifts in
Yeah,
terms of
so what
just
we're doing
pattern interrupt, right? A pattern
exactly.
interrupt.
So what we're doing in chiropractic is removing interference so the body heals. But I kept following that idea. Remove interference because the body has a nervous system, it has an immune system, it has all the things it needs to self-heal. You don't die from all the paper cuts you've ever had. You
Mm-hmm.
heal them. Your body
Right.
does that. You don't have to think
Right.
about it. So what's the real cause then? Because in chiropractic, it's a bone moving out of place and impinging or compromising a nerve. But
Mm-hmm.
why does the bone move out of place? Because the muscle contracts and moves it out of place. Why does the muscle contract? That's under subconscious control.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're talking about. What's the
That
subconscious doing?
series of events that's rooted at the subconscious.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. That's, I really hadn't looked at it in that perspective of, it was in my mind, it was the alignment, the skeletal alignment.
Hmm.
Let's bring things back into alignment.
But I'm always root cause person.
Yeah.
So
Going
what
to
caused that?
the,
So
what
what
caused
what
that?
makes that happen?
Right.
Right?
Like a 3-year-old, right? And why does that
Yep.
happen? And why does that happen?
Exactly.
See,
So
theory.
why does that happen? Yeah. So that
Right.
that brings me, I mean, chiropractors are basically nervous system doctors. We're moving things away from the nervous system so that the flow of the nervous system can do what it's supposed to do. It's kind of like if you have a rock on your garden hose and it's cutting off the water supply and you're just getting a little bit of drip out of it, you're not going to have the same beautiful flowers that the person next door who doesn't have any rocks sitting on their hose can water their flowers and they get big,
Mhm.
beautiful flowers. So which would you
Right.
rather have?
Right.
So take
Yeah.
the
They
rock
both
off
got
the
a hose.
hose.
They both got a spigot. They both
Pretty
are hooked up
simple.
to power, to the water, but there's a barrier. There's something
But what if
disrupted.
that barrier is something emotional or trauma that happened and your body
Mhm.
keeps doing the pattern over and over again because it's never been told it doesn't need to
Right.
do that?
Right. Which let me, yeah. So that's what's really interesting to me is
Me too.
knowing that, your your specialty obviously is working with women and some men who have experienced some type of loss,
Mhm.
significant loss, not like just I lost my keys,
Well,
but
it
a
could be
loss.
something that is not thought of as significant, like moving when you're a child and
Hmm.
leaving your home, or leaving your best friend, or
Yes.
going to a new school, or your parent loses their job.
Hmm.
So there's some loss that happens that's never really processed. So let me connect these things for you, if that's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that would be great because I'd love to
So,
understand, what that's cause and
right.
effect or,
So,
the
so
throughput
we
there.
talk about the nervous system is being controlled by the subconscious.
Right.
So you're not aware. You can take over some controls that are subconscious, like your breathing is subconscious, right? But you can take it over and you can direct your breathing consciously.
Hmm.
But you can't do that with your liver.
Right.
You can't tell your heart what to do. You can't tell your bladder what to do. These are all under subconscious control. And your subconscious is being controlled by your feelings.
Mm.
Every feeling has its own physiology.
Hmm.
And that's why bliss is a little bit different than, let's say, peace. Still good feelings, but a little bit
Right.
different. And the same with negative feelings. Regret is a little bit different than worry. So
Hmm.
they're negative feelings, so they lower your resistance. When you have positive feelings, they increase your resistance to disease, to things happening in your life. So when you have positive feelings, great, keep those going. But what if you get stuck on the negative? What if you get triggered by something that happened in the past and it's happening again right now? And your body does the same thing it memorized with intense emotion when that happened, or it's happened over and over again chronically. And now you have this pattern of physiology that keeps you in a disease state.
At
So
the
what we,
subconscious level, right?
yeah, so this is the energy healing that I do. So I went from massage therapy to chiropractic, and now I do chiropractic and energy healing. And the
Hmm.
reason why we call it energy healing is because what is that emotion coming from? It's coming from the energy in your body. It's coming from what you perceive is going on. So
Right.
let me give you an example. You're walking down the street, you feel like somebody's following you, you can hear something behind you, and you
Hmm.
go into fight or flight response.
Right.
You
Yep.
turn around,
Feel that.
you see that it's just a plastic bag.
Mm.
There's nobody following you. It's just a plastic bag blowing down the street.
Hmm.
You still have the
Right.
same
So
physiology for fight or
you're
flight.
exactly. the
And
thoughts
when
have
you're in fight
triggered.
or flight response, your digestion shuts off, your immune system shuts off. You don't need those to run away from danger.
Mm, mm.
You lose bladder control. It's not as good. Your pupils dilate to let more light in so you can really see what's going on. All of these physiological things happen
Just
when you're in
happen
fight or flight,
based
but
on
it's
the
your
thoughts.
perception. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's your perception.
interesting.
So
Interesting.
if you've been living with somebody who's abusing you and you hear their footsteps,
Hmm.
your body goes into fight or flight. What if it's not them, it's somebody else? Your body can still go into fight or flight. It's called a trigger. That's what people call triggers.
Right.
So these things are really important because they take you out of rest, digest, and heal. There's two modes. We were going to talk about nervous system. There's rest, digest, and heal, and there's fight or flight. You can't do both. You can either do one or the other.
One or the other. Okay.
So I teach my clients how to come out of fight or flight quickly and how to support their rest, digest, and heal.
And really become aware of, like,
Mhm.
if that pattern has been happening,
Yeah.
oftentimes it
It
might even,
happens so fast you don't
yeah,
know that it's happening.
don't realize that that's the state you're
I'll give
in.
you an example. Wendy, close your eyes, and I want you to imagine that in front of you on the table is a wedge of lemon, and it's really good. You can smell it, and you can see the juice running off of it, and you pick it up, and now you can feel the oil from the lemon skin on your fingers, and you put it in your mouth and you bite down.
Mm.
Now, do you have more saliva in your mouth?
Yes, I do.
That's how fast your body reacts to something that
That's
you are
amazing.
perceiving. There's no lemon
Hmm.
there. You're just thinking about it. Your body's memorized what to do
Totally.
with a lemon. And if we checked your pH of your saliva, it would be more alkaline than before we did that because your body's going to make more alkaline saliva to counteract the acid of the lemon.
Wow. Yeah.
Your body's really smart, but
It's
we have to
amazing to
update
me. It's
it.
just, mind-boggling as to really what our body, our
Right.
system, everything can do, or has this ability to survive, or you know
Yeah, and then people
thrive.
brush it off saying, "Oh, you can spank your kids because then they'll know that you mean business." But what does that do to them? They're
Creates
being
this lack of
punished. They don't
trust, this
understand.
fear, this ability,
Absolutely.
this
And it's
sense
set
of
up from
I'm
that
not
young
enough.
age.
Yeah.
Right. So it's more important, and people who have children generally don't study child psychology or how those things work. They just have kids, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So we have all of this population. This is going to bring me to what I really want to have happen in the world, the big idea that Dee Dee Palmer said years and years ago, 128 years ago or something like that. Um, if everybody had less interference in their nervous system, the world would be a much happier place because we'd be in present time, not reacting from stuff that happened in the past that was scary and was happening, and we're in the present and we can receive love and give love
Hmm.
and you
Hmm.
can make
Oh
that
yeah,
choice.
absolutely,
Either
absolutely.
love or fear.
It is a proactive choice, but what I'm hearing you say is also there are patterns that continue to play out. So I'm
Yep.
curious, because you've identified lots of symptoms. You
Hmm.
know what the root cause is, but a lot of symptoms then occur. So what's going on for these women and a few men who are living their lives, doing what they're doing, you know, going through their journey,
Hmm.
and something occurs and they realize, what, I need to fix this. And
Yes.
they come to somebody like you. I mean, what
Right.
is that, like, tipping point?
Yeah. Well, life gets so uncomfortable that they can't not do something. They have to do something
So
because
chronic.
they realize that, like, I can't continue this way because it's killing me. Usually that's what I hear. In
Okay, so
fact,
it gets to
I get,
that level of
oh yeah,
urgent.
discomfort. Yeah, because people will wait until they're, really, really ill before they'll get help.
Hmm.
That's why it says women and a few men because men generally don't seek that out. They have to be strong and they hide it,
That was
and
my other question is why a few men? So now you're sharing with the
because
thing.
most men don't want to look at that stuff. They want
Right.
to just keep going on their path. I mean, I was just talking with a client the other day, and she was saying how she's more enlightened about things. Her husband doesn't want to hear about it, and he drinks and smokes, and it continues to drink and smoke even though she can't be around that.
Mm-hmm.
And she's having trouble with his friend. And his friend, I said, the reason why you're having trouble with his friend is because he's seeing that you're healing yourself and he can't do it.
Oh yeah, that's where
Because people
usually
have
the
to, you have to swallow your pride.
mm-hmm.
You have to get rid of it somehow and be laid flat before you'll do anything. But there are people who understand that there's a better way to live. They don't know why they know that a lot of the time. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know why I know this, but I know that things could be better. And
Yes, there's
they
that
want to
inner
find a path.
knowingness that
Yep.
this doesn't have to be it. This can't be it. There has to
That's
be
their
something
soul.
better.
That's
Yeah.
their soul that's craving. Remove this interference so that I can be
Mm-hmm.
who I'm meant to be.
Hence your expert title, the soul chiropractor.
Yeah, in fact, the way I got that title was really funny. I was
Because
working with a
SOUL,
coach.
for
SOUL,
our
yes.
listeners, if you don't know what soul, it's not like not shoe soul,
Yeah, I need to
soul,
change my name
SOUL.
here because my one of my coaches, who I've worked with off and on for the last 10 years, said, it's like you're a soul chiropractor. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, what do you do as a chiropractor? I said, well, I remove interference from the nervous system. Oh, I get it. Yeah, I'm removing interference from the
Interference
person's
from the soul.
soul. And
Right.
then not even a week later, somebody introduced me to their girlfriend and said, this is Tanya. She's my well, she's actually a chiropractor for your soul. And I said,
Nice.
oh, that's going on my card.
That is, yeah, that's
Independent
perfect.
corroboration from the universe. Thank you so much.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. I
So
love
when
that.
we're
Well,
working in that realm, in that soul realm, we're actually changing things in present time. We're retrieving energy that's been left behind in the past in situations, in different, environments and different things that happen in our life. We leave pieces of ourselves there and we retrieve those back so that you have all the power that you're meant to have. Because
mhm.
each person has power, but we've been
So
taught not to use it.
pieces are left behind in those states of in that experience of loss.
Yep,
Is that what I'm hearing?
yep, yep,
And you
yep.
support them to
Bring it back.
energetically
Yep.
retrieve those
Retrieve it. Bring it
so
back
that
to you.
there's that wholeness.
Yes.
Huh. Wow, that's fascinating. And so the
Yeah.
nervous system, which is a functionality of the system,
Hmm.
though, does not have those impediments
No, it doesn't. And
in
what
essence.
what
And so the
happens is,
feelings then
yep,
are able to be released in more of the positive state.
that's right. So when we're releasing the feelings, we're creating pattern interrupts that keep the body going. "Oh, I'm going to do this loop again and again and again. And it's become so fast, and that neural pathway becomes so fast, like a super highway. So you don't
Mm-hmm.
even know what's happening. And
Yeah.
then what we do is slow it down so that you know when it's happening. And then you can do something about it. And we do it together. So I'm doing the healing while we're working together. And then I teach my clients different things they can do on their own so they can maintain that level of awareness.
Hmm. Interesting. Well, can you share a story with us about uh, a person that was suffering from and experiencing some of these difficult situations in
Yep.
her life and the transformation that
Well,
occurred?
this is actually a man that I worked on. He came into my
Okay.
office. This is years ago. And he came into my office and he had psoriasis over 70% of his body.
Mm,
And he was in a lot of pain. And he said, every time they give me something, it makes it worse. I'm not going back to the hospital. I'm not going back to the medical doctors. They're not helping me. And if
mm.
you can't help me, I'm just going to kill myself.
Jeez.
No pressure there. So I said,
Right.
okay, let's work on this. So we only did quantum healing techniques with him. I didn't do any moving of bones at
Mm,
all. and we interrupted these patterns. And it turned out that he had had three different head injuries. All the head injuries were caused by his dad during working because they were construction guys.
Okay.
And his dad was involved in all three of these head injuries. So there was this whole pattern interrupt of him, his dad, killing him or
Mm,
hurting him. And that it wasn't that he meant to, but
right.
it how it showed up. And I'm like, that happened once is like, oh, that's too bad. And
Right.
twice
But
is
three
like, oh,
times.
that's not good. But three times, like, come on, there's a pattern here that's not healthy. And
Right.
he's, in such pain. And after I think it was the first adjustment, he was like, oh my God, I feel so much better. Now, I didn't add anything. I didn't take anything away. I just did that pattern interrupt with him
Mm,
through the technique my main technique, and allowed his body to just finally stop doing the thing that was causing this emergency reaction.
right.
So the
Right.
body was like, "Oh, I'm in present time. I don't
Just
need to
slid.
do that. I'm laying on a table. This is not a problem."
Ha.
So
Interesting.
that was a pretty dramatic one.
Right.
There's
So
been
he
lots of
was
them where,
living kind of in this past loop.
yeah, the body is taken over. I was working on a friend of mine who had PTSD from combat, and I was working with her, and we were outside, and she saw a plane go overhead, and she immediately got triggered. And I said, "What was a trigger?" She said, "The plane going over." And I
Mm,
said, "Okay, let's clear that up." And we did. It was kind of too late for her, so I wish I could get to people that would allow more of this to happen because we can release so much.
right. And
That
then
that
life going
was
forward is so I'm assuming after multiple sessions, the man with this,
mhm.
you know, trigger it.
Well, every time we work on the person, it updates their physiology, so they're not doing this stuff from the past that
Okay.
doesn't
So
fit.
it rewires
So
that.
people, and people are funny. They're like, "Oh, I'm better. I don't need to come in anymore." They're going to wait until something bad happens or until they're really sick, like I said, and then they'll come in. And I don't practice that kind of relief. I'm not a one and
Mhm.
done person, although we
Right.
can have people get satisfaction and healing, the first visit, the first time we talk, a lot of
But it's
times
a
it happens.
process. It's a deeper process, a longer
Yeah, and
time.
if you want to continue it, we can get pretty deep on it. And
Mm-hmm.
things can be released that have been carried around. I was working on a woman who was in her 80s, and we released something from 5 years old.
Wow.
I've
Wow.
also released
She's
things
been,
from in utero, things that have happened to people in utero, because if it's
oh my
happening to the
goodness.
mother, it's happening to the baby.
Wow. Wow. That is powerful. And
It
I can
is.
only imagine that the transformation then of having released all that and now being stepping into this new level of just
Yeah. That's why we work with people for a
joy.
time period, because you can do that in a couple of visits and have things change, but to maintain it and to
Mm,
keep it going, because listen, if you have a bad relationship with the person that you're living with, every time you go in, you get rewounded. So we want to make sure that people have that break from being rewounded, and also
mhm.
that they know how to protect themselves from that.
Right. Like the woman that's, has her husband is still staying into that state
Yeah.
of drinking and smoking. And she obviously, well, I'm guessing she could ask for a divorce, but probably wants to continue with the relationship. So I'm assuming
Sure.
that you give her that ability to
Yeah.
stay
We
out
we
of
we
being
want to,
triggered.
yeah, how do you protect yourself from somebody that's still doing the same thing?
Yeah.
You have to come up with strategies for that and be able to release it. You have to
Right. Right.
become Teflon. You
Right.
have to let it slide off of you
Yeah. Because
because
we
it's
can't
their
just keep running
problem, not
away.
your problem.
Yeah.
So it can
Interesting.
be very challenging for people around you for you to change, right?
Sure.
If you've been the sad sack for years and years and you've always had a problem and suddenly you're different because you're healing and you're trying different things and they're working,
Hmm.
and then people see that you're not sad and that you're not needy, that changes their whole paradigm.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So you're shifting and they're not shifting. It can be very difficult.
It can be, absolutely. Yeah.
But
And
what I
I've
tell
seen it.
people is talk to their guides, tell your guides to tell their guides this is okay to tell them. Because we all have guides, we all have
We
spirit
all have
guides.
guides. I love that.
We all have spirit guides that are around us
Okay.
all the time. They're like executive
Tell them
secretaries.
to
They're
talk to their,
waiting.
their
Yeah. Tell tell them, I'm talking to my guides. I've done this. Tell my guides, I want you to hear this, and I want you to tell his guides that I said this so that he understands. And
Mm-hmm.
have the person then suddenly say, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize what was going on without any prompt. Like, how did that happen? I didn't say anything to them and they came and apologized to me. Oh,
Yes,
okay. So this stuff is getting through.
that would be amazing. Yes, that is amazing. I love that.
There's so
And
many things that we can't explain with, you know, Newtonian physics. We're not Newtonian physics. We are
mm,
human beings. We are quantum physics beings because what we perceive changes things. What we perceive changes things. And you did that when you thought about a lemon.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
It was
definitely.
a perception. It changed your
Mhm.
physiology. You felt it change. You
Yep.
witnessed it changing within your
Right.
own body. So we are
Exactly.
not Newtonian physics, and that's what most medicine and all that is based on. It's
Mm,
Newtonian. It's billiard balls on a pool table. But
mhm,
we have souls and we have power that we have been taught not to use. Don't
mhm.
use your power.
Right.
You're not,
Yeah.
that's evil. It's not evil. God gave it to you.
Well, or it's whimsical, or you're being irresponsible, or
Or
you're
it's
whatever.
woo-woo, which
Yeah.
one.
Any of the above. So, and frankly, it's not always that friction that occurs. I've seen
Yeah.
positive impact when a person steps into a new level of happiness, having a positive ripple effect,
Yeah.
around others. And obviously, you're empowering people to achieve new levels of peace, happiness, joy, even financial success is creating a huge ripple effect, in a
Exactly.
positive
And
way.
so I work on one person, I work on
Mhm.
everybody that they know,
Yes,
especially the
exactly.
people that they live in the
Exactly.
same building
So
with.
it's not just that,
We're changing their vibration.
it it
We're
it
all
does
vibration.
affect others in a positive way. One of my mentors early in my entrepreneurial career was Mark Victor Hansen, the
Mm-hmm.
co-author for Chicken Soup for the
Sure.
Soul. Now, he wasn't a direct mentor of mine, but I was in a mastermind with he and Bob Proctor called the
Mm-hmm.
3% Club. And it was an amazing opportunity to get with
Wow.
these two
Yeah.
visionaries, right? And one of the things that Mark taught me, and as well as obviously probably thousands and thousands of others, is that he said, Wendy, you just really need to have this big, audacious goal, something that just, sends that level of goosebumps. It's such a vision that is so exciting yet achievable that it helps you to get over these little speed bumps that come
Yeah.
along the way.
Yep.
And so ever since then, through my entrepreneurial journey, I've had various different big audacious goals. And currently for me as a business coach, my big audacious goal is to raise consciousness within humanity,
Good
which is
goal.
why I'm passionate and I love supporting people, experts, wise individuals like yourselves
Yeah.
who have that knowingness of this. Oh, this is how it works. This is, people are living
Yeah,
in a
when I
dream, a
explain that to
fog.
people, everybody gets it. They all understand it.
Yeah.
They all understand that their subconscious is running their body. They all understand their emotion. I mean, it's not rocket science. They can really understand it. So when
Mhm.
people are taught that they can't possibly understand this because it's way too complicated, our bodies are complicated, absolutely. But this is a really simple way of looking at it. And I just want to say also that the reason why I do work in grief is because in 1994, I had a baby that was stillborn
Mm.
after a full-term pregnancy.
Oh
And
gosh.
I was just finishing up chiropractic college at the time. And I thought, why did this happen?
Mm,
Why is this happening? And my doctor mind went, I better pay attention to this because there's something here for me. This is why I say there's treasure in tragedy because you can be the victim. You can feel like you're being punished. What did I do? I'm a
mhm,
nice person. Why is this happening? But if you take that road down a little bit farther, then you say things like, well, I'll never get over this. I'll never forgive myself. I'll never forgive those people that worked with me.
mm,
And you know what that does? It kills your spirit.
mm,
And it kills it every time you say it or think it. So my husband and I decided that we were not going to blame and shame each other or anybody else about this. This was just the way things happen. And you either get very comfortable with mystery and not knowing,
right.
or you keep looking for the thing that happened and trying to figure it out. And what I did was I said, I'm going to decide to believe, because we get to decide what we believe when we're grown-ups. And I'm going to decide to believe that everything happens to the highest good,
Mm,
because the alternative is a lot of crap,
right.
very dark.
That is a
So,
big level of faith to take that level of, I'm deciding to believe when you have just gone through that level of loss.
yeah, and it wasn't like I wasn't sad, and it wasn't like that
Yeah, of
I didn't
course.
experience it. I mean, I did physically, and my husband would say, "Oh, it's so sad that Tanya has to experience this physically." And I was like, "It's so sad that he doesn't even have any physical thing to think about." So we're both like feeling sorry for each other
Right.
going through this, but at the same time, also knowing like death is going to happen.
Yeah,
You better get comfortable with it because it's going to happen. And it's going to happen to everybody you know,
this
and
is
it's going to
true.
happen to you. And what are you going to think about it? So we had to tell my two little stepdaughters who were waiting for their new baby brother, and we
Mm,
had to tell them that he wasn't coming home,
right.
that he was already home. Because some people die when they're young, and some people die when they're old. Some people die from an accident. Some people die when they're sick. Some people
Mm-hmm.
die because they're just done.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can have that level of understanding about life and death and not make it a huge drama
Mm-hmm.
of crime and punishment,
Right.
it's a pretty
Right.
thick book, if you'll remember, then we can walk in love. And when our
Mhm.
spirit is free from all of those, think about it. It's like every single trauma is like a binding, it's like a rubber band around you.
Mm,
There's a great story about a woman in a wheelchair who, I think it was her daughter took her on a trip and she gave her some mushrooms or something. And she saw herself unbinding all of these bands that had been around her, and she was free.
mm,
And she realized it. Mushrooms
mhm.
helped, but she realized it that she was able to see herself as the whole being that she was and not just the wheelchair. And she was free from then on. Not free of the wheelchair, her body was still
Right.
there, but she felt
Good.
free. So her mind expanded and she was able to see herself um as the divine expression of unconditional love that she is.
Mm. Wow. Yeah, that is liberation at
It
its
is.
ultimate
And I
pinnacle.
always ask
Mm.
people, how will it feel when you have these blocks removed or released, or you don't have this compromise
Yeah.
going on in your physical body? And everybody says, I'll feel free.
Mm, hmm.
That's what people want. They want to be free,
Free, free and
free from the turmoil that
flowing,
creates the drama.
ease, ease, freedom,
Yep.
peace.
Because when you keep going over things over and over again and you can't stop it,
Hmm.
you don't feel free.
No,
And
no,
you
it
keep,
immediately puts this dampen,
right. And then you go through
this,
the litany of all the terrible things I've done. Here's the litany of all the failures I've had. And your brain will keep doing that. So we
it's
want
like
to break those
flogging.
patterns.
It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
going back into the torture chamber.
Right,
Back into
that's
the
right.
torture chamber. Let's do this to you again
I
instead
was in
of
the
like,
car once with my husband and I looked at him and I said, if you could hear what is going on in here, you would turn around and leave the room.
mm.
Because it is just awful what I'm saying to myself. And I recognized it and I was like, that's got to stop. Now, I still do it sometimes because that was ingrained in me, but I know how to get out of it too.
And that
I don't have to
awareness.
stay there.
Yeah, awareness and then knowing what to do. So, which
Yeah.
brings me to a great way to kind of wrap up this conversation is our audience, our listeners, I'm sure have been kind of like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize. And now I'm seeing, getting a different perspective on what
Mhm.
could be a transformation for them. So what is a best next step for women and men who are
Well,
curious about
yeah.
all that you're sharing and the possibilities of stepping into a new level of freedom for themselves?
Well, the first thing that I do is I can have a clarity call with them. We
Okay.
call it a claim your power clarity call
I
because
like that.
we want to
Claim your
make sure
power.
that you're claiming your power, that you know, like, I don't have to live like this anymore. And then the next thing that we do is a intuitive energy scan. And that's when I scan their energy to tell them what I'm finding. We do it through the chakra system. That's why I have that banner on the wall there. There's the spine, there's the mechanical part of it, but that's the energetic part of it.
Okay.
And I scan each chakra. I tell them what it's supposed to be doing, what it's like when it's compromised, and what I see for them. So for many people, this is the first time they've been seen as a holistic being and not just a sum of symptoms.
Right. Right.
So they're seeing like the story of who they are. This is what your energy is showing me. And I've been doing it for 11 years, 12 years now, reading people's energy. I was doing it long before I did the training to do energy scans because I am an intuitive person and I didn't know that other people couldn't do that.
You just
So
thought
I had,
everybody thought you're right. So you had
yeah, I
to
thought
work.
everybody could see that this person's on drugs. Can't they see that? I mean, no, people are like, no, I don't
No.
know what you're talking about. So being able to see that and read that kind of energy coming off of people is the main thing that I do. And then when we do the energy scan, then we talk about what's the next step. Do you need this program? Do you need one-on-one healing? Do you need to be in a group? What is it that you need? Is it working with me? Is it not working with me? Is it something else?
Hmm.
So it's really important for us to be able to share with people what possibilities there are for them because it's an infinite universe and there are infinite possibilities.
Right.
And sure, people are going to say, yeah, but I bet everybody ends up working with her. Not all the time. No, not all the time. It's really one of those things where you get to decide what you're going to do.
Hmm.
Because as you see yourself laid out, and sometimes people, they see this, they hear what I'm saying, I'm sharing it with them, and they're like, that's exactly what it is, but I've never put it into words. So they're understanding like this is real. This isn't
Hmm.
just made up.
Right.
This is real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like you have a very thorough process to assessing exactly what's going on and then providing those options. So yeah, I
Yeah, and
love
then
that.
we can also do an assessment to see who are the saboteurs that are speaking in the back of your head.
Oh.
Who are those? What are they? What's their go-to? Are they
Mm.
always telling you how you're not enough?
Hmm.
Let's talk to them. So we face them and talk to them and get them
Wow.
to tell us what and change their job.
Huh.
It's really fascinating.
That's
Yeah,
amazing. I
it's
love that.
really cool.
It's like
And
change their job. Okay, you're out of here. You're not washing dishes.
because
You,
their job is not working. It's not working. Well, is she paying
right.
attention? You know, she never listens to me. I'm like, well, how about if we do something different? And this is the person talking to me as that part of themselves.
Mm,
So we're not trying to kill it off. We're just trying to give it a different job.
different job. Oh my gosh,
Yeah. How about
that's
if you're the
brilliant.
cheerleader? What are you going to wear as the cheerleader? Oh, well, I'm going to wear these colors. What
Huh.
color are your pom-poms? I'm going to do this. Well, what's your favorite cheer to do for her? Wendy, she's our gal. So we can do all of these things
Make it
that seem
sound
like,
so easy and transparent, yet you know,
yep.
amazing.
When we get into it, it can bring up a lot of tears. So I'm using
Yeah.
lots of different techniques to help clear this up so that the person can be in present time, in
Hmm.
their power, understanding who they really are, a divine expression of unconditional love,
Hmm.
knowing that this is all here for them.
Yeah.
This is all here for
Amazing.
you.
Amazing. So for our listeners, look in the show notes and you'll find the link, right? What's
The link that I put in the show notes that I gave you is for a report that I did called The Seven Lessons I Learned from My Greatest Heartbreak. And
okay.
in that, you can schedule some time to talk
Go
with me.
within that document. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Fantastic. All right. Well, Dr. Tanya, thank you so much. This has
Thank
just
you,
been
Wendy.
a wonderful conversation. I have so enjoyed learning about your journey and the expansive perception I now have of what's truly possible
Yeah.
in terms of aligning and really becoming more centered in that
There is
wholeness.
treasure in tragedy. And
Yes.
that deep well of tragedy is also a deep well of blessings. So, but you got to
Mhm.
go in there. You got to go
Yeah,
in there and
to
find them.
find it. Yeah, fantastic. Well, again, thank you so much, Dr. Tanya.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate this work you're doing and the ripple effects that you're creating.
Thanks, Wendy.
All right. Well, the real life transformations facilitated by experts like my guest today are truly priceless. I mean, happiness, joy, peace, love, right? These are all what each of us ultimately strives for in life. But becoming a sought after and well paid coach or energy healer is often challenging, overwhelming, and frustrating. So, if you're a heart centered coach, expert, or energy healer who's striving for more ease, flow, and abundance, well, I've created a special gift just for you. So, check out the show notes. All right, well, this is Wendy Vaughn signing off. Thank you so much for tuning in, and be sure to join me for my next episode where we'll be inspired by yet another impact maker's journey.